You know, I come down here every morning that I'm home. If I'm not home, no matter where I am, every single day. I get my coffee and I come to you guys and I say, "Good morning, friends." And today's just not a good morning. It's just not. But hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, who is definitely taking the loss pretty hard, as well as Joe Bear. He's up there. He's always got a cheesy grin on. And as always, I can't thank you guys enough for being here. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods as we sit 27 days and 8 hours away from the Super Bowl, where the Dallas Cowboys, again, will not be. Last night after the game, after everybody left and I went out in the rain, in the snow, and did my video. I think actually I caught a cold because my throat is definitely hoarse. That may be from yelling so much yesterday. Did my video and I literally just went to bed. Just had to get up under the covers because I could not believe that that is the best that we could do. That was the best that we could do in our house on Wild Card Weekend. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. That was, you win as a team and you lose as a team. The defense did what they could. They kept holding them to field goals, giving us a chance, giving us a chance to stay in there. But for our offense to have 7 points through 3 quarters in the playoffs at home, we just looked like we weren't prepared. We didn't look like we were motivated. There didn't seem to be a sense of urgency. There didn't seem to be anything that you could hang your hat on. Thank you, Cameron Billings, for making me feel worse this morning. The Cowboys have now gone 11 straight playoff appearances without reaching a conference championship game. At some point, you got to start feeling like we are truly cursed, that we just can't seem to get it done. Now is the aftermath of all this. I can at least say we're in a better position now than we were last year at this time. We were 6-10 last year. Defense looked completely lost. Injuries galore. Now, you know I am the optimist. There's nothing we can do about this game yesterday. The fans out there throwing trash at the officials and things. And, I went off on the officials about the spot and things, but I don't know that you can blame that call solely on the officials as much as saying we do a quarterback draw with 14 seconds in the middle of the field with no timeouts. You got the ball with 14 seconds at the 50-yard line. That should be 2 plays right there. It should be. I can understand because San Francisco was definitely guarding the sidelines, trying to make sure everything stayed in the middle of the field. I get that. But if you pass the ball in the middle of the field, you probably get the ball down the field faster than if Dak's running. And then you have one more play. You got one more opportunity. But even beyond that, it just seemed like between the 14 penalties that were called, that every time we seemed like we got a play going, that all of a sudden it would back up. And, some of them seemed legitimate, but some of them seemed like they weren't called on the other team. We have some areas of weakness. And I'm going to break those down more in future videos. But to me, it seemed like when the team turned, was after Tyron Smith went out the first time. Here's the thing. Vash Lombardi. Vash, former offensive lineman. Vash loves the offensive line. Vash would say draft an offensive lineman every single year. And he's right about a lot of it because the problem started with week one, Lyle Collins. After that, he ended up getting the whole suspension for 6 games. Enter Terrence Steele. I actually believe that Terrence Steele is one of our better offensive linemen. Terrence Steele played great at right tackle. For those 7 games that he played and started, at right tackle, he was great. Tyron Smith was Tyron Smith of old. You could get away with Tyler Badish, who is not good against big guys. I'm not sure Tyler Badish is the guy. But if you have good guard play and good tackle play, you can make up for that. Vita Vea guys, big guys, can really get up underneath of Tyler Badish. Connor Williams has been, he has been a penalty magnet. And I'm not sure if the Cowboys re-sign him or not. Once Tyron Smith went down, the offensive line started going in flux. You moved Terrence Steele to the left, and he was not ready to be the left tackle, not that first game. Then you bring in Lyle Collins. Now you've disrupted from one injury 2 positions. And I'm not sure Lyle Collins is the same guy he was 2 years ago. Connor Williams gets beat and is a penalty magnet. Tyron Smith in and out of the lineup. Zach Martin, of course, all pro. Tyler Badish, good games, bad games. Our offensive line, from that point, on a weekly basis, was changing as we kept trying to get the big fella, Tyron Smith, back out there. We had no consistency. And Dak is off. I believe Dak is still recovering from the ankle. Couldn't run the way he used to. But literally, the defensive lines are able to push that whole offensive line right into his lap. And he doesn't have the speed at the moment to be able to get out like he used to. And all these things cascade. But I think if you honestly look at this from the standpoint of where this season changed, where you looked at the Cowboys and said, this offense is incredible, that this offense could do no wrong because you had an offensive line that was opening holes for Zeke before he had the PCL injury. This offensive line that was giving Dak Prescott time to feel comfortable in the pocket where he could see where he's got to go as opposed to having all these hands and people in the way. And that's where this team is going to need to start to the rebuilding process. If we cannot protect the quarterback, if we cannot open up holes for the running back, it doesn't matter who's there, Tony Pollard or Zeke, because, again, we cannot run the football, and at this time of year, you must. I am so disgusted, disappointed. I feel bad. I was not prepared that this was the end of the season for the Cowboys. So, we'll watch the playoffs. We'll live stream tonight. It's funny because my emails are blowing up with, people I haven't seen forever whose sorry-ass teams have been out of it for a long time. But it's cool because I'm a grown-ass man. And if you're going to walk the walk, then be prepared to talk the talk. Excuse me. If you're going to talk the talk, be prepared to walk the walk. So trolls, haters, bring it on. I don't care. But it's not going to stop me from doing what I do. It's not going to stop me from believing in the Cowboys. And, yes, I will be critical of this. The big question is what will Jerry Jones do? From the standpoint of where are the Cowboys? Well, right now we're home. You have a core group of people that you can develop. But you don't have all the pieces just yet. And we need help at linebacker, although you've got a stud in Micah Parsons. You've got some other young group of guys. It's maybe time to start turning the page on some more of the Garrett guys. It may be time that we say Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith, Van Der Esch, some of these guys go and replenish with other ones. But we'll see. We've got plenty of time to dissect that. The bigger question will be is who is going to be here from the top down? We know Jerry will. We know Will McClay. But everybody else, I have no clue. And Jerry Jones is tight-lipped about Mike McCarthy. So let's go ahead and start taking some of that medicine. Let's listen to Get Up. I haven't heard from Nick Wright yet this morning, but we'll watch it together.
From the 50-yard line, or you want to be running 5 verticals from the 25-yard line? So that's the decision. It's the right decision. It's just like anything. It's, the execution between us and the officiating spotting the ball obviously wasn't in tune. We shouldn't have had any problem getting the ball spotted there.
What? All right, there's a lot here. Yeah. So Nick, what was your reaction to this play call at the end here?
My reaction, Jenna, aside from just my utter dismay that we are not leading with better than a bye, but I will get over it because I'm a professional and we have 2 hours to get to that, and the Patriots being trounced. Oh, my God, what a weekend.
Okay.
But on this game, on this game,
on point.
My reaction to the final play call was that final play call might have actually been the best thing to happen to Dak Prescott since the sleep number marketing team called. Because it is only because of that final play call that we are not discussing, leading with, focusing on the fact that Dak Prescott in a home playoff game mustered 7 points through 3 quarters, was just awful once again in a huge spot against a good opponent. And by the way, even on that final play call, Broussard, he screwed it up as much as anybody. Is it a ridiculous, absurd, indefensible play call? Of course. But the team is coached by Mike McCarthy. So you have to prepare for those types of things. Dak has to know. He's damn near 30. He's got to know, I am not competing for as many yards as possible. I'm competing for seconds. And he has to know this isn't call your own fouls pickup. You can't hand the ball to your center and say, let's go, ball in. He has to know I got to get down and I have to find the ref. He didn't know that. Romo knew it. Romo, who hadn't played quarterback for them for 5 years, he knew it. He's watching the game. He thought they were going to be okay because he didn't think Dak was just going to set the ball down or hand it to his center. So obviously the play call is an abomination. And if I were going to interview Kellen Moore, I would cancel the interview. Sorry, Kellen, you're not interested in you being a head coach of my football team. No, but you're out here. No.
Wow.
Yes. No, those interviews are canceled. But Broussard, Dak butchered this throughout the game and then also butchered the final play.
I said last week, and I like Dak. I have been a Dak cheerleader since he's been in the league because I love his intangibles. But I didn't think he could get it done and beat a good team yet with his arm. And he couldn't because San Francisco shut down the run. They put it on Dak in his arm. And as you said, Nick, he couldn't deliver. But on the last play, I understand the logic, all right? Because if you look at the formation, San Francisco had 6 players on the sideline. All right, so you had to, whatever you did, pass or run, it was going to be in the middle of the field, and you were going to be scrambling to clock the ball. All right, but if you look at the play, they should have passed it because Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz were open immediately. All right, that's quicker than Dak running down there. So you pass to them and tell them once you get to the 28, inside the 30, whatever it may be, you go down. As you said, Nick, Dak ran as far as he could. He ran until the Niners made him slide, which I get is your instinct, but you've got to be smarter than that in that situation. So they should have thrown the ball. That's the number one thing. The second thing, as you said, Dak went down. I got 4 mistakes for the Cowboys on this play. So Dak should have went down earlier. All right, the third thing is, as you said, he should have gotten the ball to the official. And they're complaining about the official bumped into him, right? Well, if the official had tried to run around the line of the offensive lineman, he wouldn't have got to the ball in time. The only way he could get there to touch it in time for them to potentially clock it was to run through the line of scrimmage. So you can't blame him. Now, here's the one thing I'll say for the Cowboys. And I don't want to hear Cowboys players and fans complaining about the officiating. All right? Because it wasn't on the officials. It was on you. So just cut it out. However, if there's one beef you can argue with that last play, the official, if the official just taps the ball rather than moving it back a yard or so, then they have time to actually clock it. And I don't think he had to move it back. I get it. He wants to set it. It's not up to the center to mark the ball. But I think the mark right now where the center had it was pretty good. I didn't think it really was when you look at Dak's slide.
Not because it's
so
dead.
Had he just tapped the ball.
Brew, just real quick, when you're watching this, keep in mind, because he slid, the ball's dead the moment he goes into his slide. So the ball's dead south of the 25.
I can't take it. Sorry. I just can't take it. Here's an interesting thing from Ed Warder put out here. And there's two ways to look at this. The Cowboys were the most penalized team in the NFL in the regular season and played to form while being eliminated. It just hurts saying that. From the playoffs. The only team in the league to have 14 penalties accepted against them in 2 different games. So there's 2 things that you can infer from that. A, they are the worst coached team and don't understand about penalties. That they just don't understand fundamentals, which goes to coaching. Or they are grading the Dallas Cowboys differently than anybody else. Either way, you cannot have 14 penalties accepted against you and think that you're going to go anywhere. You just can't. And this is where you start looking at Mike McCarthy and say, dude, you got to do better than this. And the whole listening to Mike McCarthy there saying, well, we it's a design run, and it was the right call and we should have had, I'm surprised that we did. You can't be surprised by anything. You are the head coach. You cannot be surprised. You have to, and maybe we're asking for the impossible task, but you have to be prepared for everything. You have to know in your mind what to do. If it's Dak, if it's a design run, get 10 yards and slide, boom, and give it the give up, whatever. You have to make sure everybody knows exactly what can happen with that play. And they didn't. And this is not the first time we've questioned things that the team has done, from clock management to play calling. And it's just the space to make it to a Super Bowl. Everything has to be perfect. It's not enough just to have a bunch of good players. You must be perfect. And we aren't. So that's where we are. I'm actually grateful. I'm grateful that the day after tomorrow, my X-Carve will be here. So at least it's giving me something to look forward to get out in the workshop and just be one with my wood. It's the NFL winner for us Cowboy fans. And believe me, I know I'm going to be busy here because the trolls are descending.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe for the Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and all the thing else I got to